Hello and welcome to the Solihull Radio Rock Show once again. It is I, your host, Jake. What you just heard there was the, of course, iconic Painkiller there by Judas Priest, one of my favourite Judas Priest songs. So, welcome back. You're going to have another week of fantastic music, hopefully, ahead of you. Hopefully you enjoy what I've picked for you and what you're going to pick for me. So, first up, as is tradition, we shall have a little swears warning just to clue you in.
Now, there might be a few naughty words in this song, but we know you'd never repeat them.
There you go, you have been warned. So, coming up on this show, we will be having, as usual, an hour of heavy music and an hour of much lighter music in the second hour, featuring our album of the week, which for this week is a lighter album. I know that doesn't happen very often, so savour it. It's a great album, it's one of my favourites, but you'll have to wait for that. Next up on my list, we have 10 Ton Brick by a band called Hurt.
Decisions of my former thoughts and all that I made of. Yeah, I'm finally done with the description now, and I don't mind saying I'm the blood.
There you go, that was Hurt there with 10 Ton Brick. So, as is typical for this show, I accept requests. If anybody has a song they would like me to play, you can either email me on studio@solihullradio.com, or you can text me by texting studio and your request to 82228. However, this will cost you one of your standard network rate to send it. So if you want to make a free request, then go ahead and email me. I am ready and waiting. So while you're all thinking of something you'd like me to play, I'm going to play a bit of a feel-good song. Well, I say a feel-good song. A pretty easy-going song for this kind of first hour. It's called Mexico by a band called Ailstorm, who are all about the party and about the fun. So this is Mexico. There you go, that was Ailstorm there with Mexico, just a nice little party song to kick off your Wednesday, which I know everybody parties on a Wednesday. It's that day that is the end of the week, obviously, but yeah, just to get you through Hump Day, we've got all these nice energetic songs. So next on my list, we have a song by the Great Pantera, and this is Goddamn Electric. There you go. That was Goddamn Electric there by Pantera. Of course, a very distinctive sound for a very distinctive band. So next up, we've got a band that I played last week as part of my download roundup, and that is Lamb of God. And this is off their last full-length album, and this is Still Echoes, one of my favourite songs off the album. It's great. I seem to have picked some. I think I just picked the ones I really like this week instead of some interesting ones. So sorry, you'll have to put up with some stuff that is probably a little bit more heard, but yeah. Here you go. Here's Still Echoes by Lamb of God. There you go, that was Lamb of God there with Still Echoes, a great song. Now the next one I've got you kind of need a bit of an explanation for. And it's a band I play a lot of, and that's Amorphis. I seem to open the show quite a lot with them because they've got a big, epic sound. However, they write a lot of concept albums. And for those of you who don't know what a concept album is, it's where there's a story happening over the whole album, and you've kind of got to listen from start to finish to hear the whole thing. So the song I've picked is a song called Sampo, and that's related to the album. It's the opener of the album, and it's the album Skyforger. And Skyforger is all about the Finnish mythology, as they are a Finnish band, and it's the journey of one man. And so I thought I'd play the first track off it because it's a really cool album, but I can't play the whole album because that would take too long. So here is Amorphis with Sampo. If you like this, go and check them out. They've got some fantastic albums, but you've got to listen to them all as an album. So this is just a little sampler. So here you go. There you go. That was the wonderful Amorphis there with Sample. Like I've said, if you enjoyed that, it was just a little sampling platter. Go and check them out. They're just flawless. They're a band that I really need to see live, and they don't come around to the UK enough. So next time they come round, I'm definitely seeing them. But next up on my list, while I find the first request of the evening, is a song called Memphistopheles, which is a bit of a mouthful. It's even more difficult to spell, so thank God you didn't see me write it down. But this is by Venom, and it's just got a really catchy riff. So here's Memphistopheles. So that was Venom there with Memphistopheles, the mouthful song. So we have our first request of the evening, and hopefully not the last, and this is for Janie, and this is Engel by Rammstein.
Gott weiß, ich will kein Engel sein. 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 Gott weiß, ich will kein Engel sein.
There you go. That was Engel there for Janie. I hope you enjoyed that. There's a little dose of Rammstein for the week. So the next track I have lined up is by a bit of a unusual band. They are formed of members of the Treyarch game studio. And this is the studio famous for producing some of the Call of Duty games. And these songs have been used as the soundtrack to some of them. And they're actually pretty good. I believe the singers are actually just the guys out of the office. So not the TV program, but the actual offices there. And while the guy singing on this song isn't the greatest singer in the world, he really does capture the kind of energy of the song and that kind of moment. So I think it's really good. And they're definitely ones to check out, even if you're not kind of fans of the games. They are pretty well written songs, actually. So here is Carrion by Treyarch.
Like a dream where I'm falling and calling out. My resistance is silent. I can feel but I still can't control myself. Please forgive me now. Shadow, nothing, all I am.
There you go, that was Carry On there by the Treyarch Studios guys. Now that's got an interesting use of the 8-string guitar there to really bring in that low end that gives you that big boomy sound. So we've had another request, and while I go find that, we're going to have another song. And this is actually a cover. This is a cover of a Killing Joke song, but I really love this cover. And this is like a heavier cover of the song Love Like Blood, and this is by Cybreed, so here you go. There you go, that was Cybreed with their cover of Killing Joke's Love Like Blood. I absolutely love that version. It's just got such a great energy to it. They've really brought the spirit of the original song to life, or to a more heavy life, let's say, with this version. Now, the next song we have is a request, and this is a request for Josh, and this is Community by Mammal, which is an absolute great song. I think this was released about 6 months ago, and it's just so funky and fun. So here you go, here is Community. Enjoy.
Negativity, cash out on a Ponzi scheme. Switchblade is a remedy. Devil in the detail, pumping up a new feel. You win when you're fighting back. Roundhouse on a batting track. Front foot is the only tack. You were getting stronger every time I palmed out. Ha ha, I got community, you feel it too. Ha ha, I got the same things in my head that you do. Ha ha, I got community, you feel it too, feel it too. Same emotions as you. That you do. I got, yeah, the same things in my head that you do. That you do. I got, yeah, the same things in my head that you do. We print positivity. Smack down on a fascist scene. Meet now in a time machine. Never going backward, prison getting fractured. Lift up on a melody. Fist up on a daydream. Love shot for the refugee. Growing up stronger, ending over hunger. Ha, ha, I got community, you feel it too. Ha, ha, I got the same things in my head that you do. Ha, ha, I got community, you feel it too, feel it too. The same emotions as you. That you do. I got, yeah, the same things in my head that you do. That you do. I got, yeah, the same things in my head that you do. The same things in my head that you do. Can you feel it too? Same things in my head that you do. Why we're keeping on the memory of a new trap felony. Upside down and they hit you with a new law. Better line a blaze and kick it evermore. Keeping on the memory of a new trap felony. Of a new trap felony. Better line a blaze and kick it evermore. Upside down when they hit you with a new law. Never time to play, get you back against another wall. Upside down, hit you with a new law. Like a Mack truck evermore. Hit me up about it when you get a chance to tap it on the screen. It fills your vision of a waterfall. Hit me up about it when you get a chance to tap on the street. It fills your vision of a waterfall. That you do. I got, yeah, the same things in my head that you do. That you do. I got, yeah, the same things in my head that you do. Same things in my head that you do. Can you feel it too? I got the same things in my head that you do. The same emotions as you.
There you go, there's the absolutely fantastic Mammal there with Community. Thank you very much for requesting that, Josh. It's an absolutely great song. Everything they do seems to sound like a great cross between Rage Against the Machine and Red Hot Chili Peppers, with that kind of funky sound. I have to admit, when I was watching the Glastonbury coverage, I caught a bit of Stormzy, and I'm not a fan, as I've discovered. And I had to go listen to this instead. I had to go listen to something that I thought was a bit more funky. So thank you very much for requesting that, Josh. That definitely hit the right spot there for me, at least. So next up on my playlist, we have a classic kind of piece of industrial metal, and this is Static X with Black and White.
Lost in my
There you go, there you had Static X there with Black and White. So it's coming now to the end of the first hour, where we're going to start swapping over to some lighter music. So the final song of the heavy hour is not a particularly heavy song. This is Porcupine Tree with So-Called Friends. It's the live version of their Arriving Somewhere DVD, I believe, that I have procured the audio of. It's fantastic. It's just a really great song. So we're going to have this, we're going to go to some news, and then we're going to go on to the lighter hour. So I'll see you on the other side.
Sound escape is found carving out the day.
Thank you so much.
From the Sky News Centre at 7, police say 2 railway workers killed on a line in South Wales were wearing ear defenders and didn't hear an oncoming train. The Rail Accident Investigation Branch is examining what happened on the track between Bridgend and Swansea this morning. Luke Trester from the Transport Salaried Staffs Association trade union says it sent shockwaves through the rail community.
Well, it's a tragic incident that's occurred, and everyone at TSA, our thoughts go to the families of those people who've been killed. It's absolutely appalling.
Network Rail says it's fully cooperating with investigators. Officers looking into the disappearance of estate agent Susie Lamplew 33 years ago in West London have begun searching land in Worcestershire. Her family have been told about the new searches in Pershore. The Chinese ambassador has been summoned to the Foreign Office. It's after Liu Xiaoming accused the UK of interfering in its affairs following a series of pro-democracy demonstrations in Hong Kong. The Foreign Office says it's made clear to him that comments by Beijing have been unacceptable and inaccurate. In sport, it's been a bad day for the British players on the grass courts of Wimbledon. Joe Rawson has been watching the action.
Yeah, a very bad day for the British players indeed. First, Heather Watson went out, and now men's number 1 Kyle Edmund has lost. He went down in a deciding set to Spain's Fernando Verdasco here on Sense Court, but was struggling with a knee injury. At the moment, I'm watching defending champion Novak Djokovic. He's just taken the first set against American Dennis Kudla.
Also in the last hour, England have made it through to the semi-finals of the Cricket World Cup after a dominant victory over New Zealand. Owen Morgan's side won by 119 runs at Durham as they impressed with both the bat and the ball. And people have been reporting issues with some aspects of Facebook, Instagram and WhatsApp. They've been tweeting to complain about problems uploading photos, videos and sharing other files. Facebook, which owns all 3 apps, says it's working to fix the problems as quickly as possible. That's the latest. I'm Kit Bradshaw.
You're listening to Solihull Radio.
There are warnings of gales at Humber, Thames, Dover, White, Portsmouth, Biscay, Fitzroy, Hull, Fundy, Fastnet, Irish Sea, Shannon, Hebrides, Bailey, Faroes, South East Iceland. The general synopsis of 1300. 100 miles north of Fair
sky rolling out to sea. I dream of the ocean and the rip of the tide west of Finisterre. The weight of the water pouring down, holding on to me. I dream of the ocean rising, rising. I dream of the ocean rising, rising. I dream of the ocean through the night that goes to sailing still. The James Caird steering east by northeast through the wild Atlantic swell. The metal ice soaked and cold beneath the sail on a bed of ballast stone. They hear the boss cry out, I can see them now. The snow-capped peaks of land, but it was the ocean rising, rising. A 40-foot wall of water crashing down. They held a breath, prayed to God in the hour of death to save them. Rising, I dream of the ocean rising, rising. So the years they flow and journeys end, the old cruise
sailed south again. They buried the boss by the melting snow in the summer winds on the island. And now the icy crackness falls away, trippled in the storms. And I'll be there when the sky touches the sea, at the edge of the ocean, where the beautiful world fades into the grey. I dream of the ocean rising, rising. I dream of the ocean rising, rising. I dream of the ocean rising, 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 rising.
Welcome back to the Solihull Radio Rock Show, or if you've just joined me, welcome. That was Ocean Rising there with New Model Army. Sorry, by New Model Army, not with them. So this is the lighter hour of my programme, so we will be having some great lighter rock music, as well as some quirkier stuff, as you're about to discover. But before we get too into it, I'll put out the call for requests. If you want me to play a song, you can email me on studio@solihullradio.com, or you can text your request into 82228, text studio and your request to 82228. That will, however, cost you the single message rate. So if you want to make a free request, then you can email me. So I look forward to hearing any requests you've got. So the next track I've got for you is a bit of a jazzy one, and this is called Marrow of the Earth, and this is by Opeth. Usually I'll play like a more rocky one of their songs, but last week I played one of their death metal songs, so I kind of feel obliged to offset it with something light. So here is their jazz, almost jazz song, Marrow of the Earth. So there you go, that was Marrow of the Earth there by Opeth. I know this is very light even for this hour, but I thought it would be needed to offset the heaviness of last week, so I thought I'd pick something really, really light for you. Even though they usually do slightly more rocky songs, this was more of a jazzy acoustic kind of jam, I've got to say. But next up we have a absolute classic, and that's The Cure. I saw their Glastonbury highlights, they were fantastic. It made me want to go see them. So I'm probably gonna another band I'm gonna see next time they come round, if they ever come round this way again. So this is The Cure with Caterpillar. There you go, that was of course, The Cure there with Caterpillar Girl. What a classic song of theirs. So now the time has come for our album of the week. And we'll play the album of the week theme first of all. There you go. That's the That's the signal. We have now entered Album of the Week territory. This week's Album of the Week is Block Party's Silent Alarm. It's an indie rock album from the early noughties. It's one that's influenced me heavily. It's one of my favourite albums, and it's got some just really cool songs on there. They've really explored the use of kind of effects to make all these layers. It's really good. Now, the first song I'm going to play for it is probably the one that most people will recognise. It was actually featured on Guitar Hero 3, another song. That soundtrack to that game was just full of so many great songs. So this is Block Party with Helicopter.
North to south, energy running on. Bravado, as if to say, who doesn't like chocolate? Who's more alive than die? Some things will never be different. Stop me. Some liquor, there's a time and there's a place. So James did. So bleachers, gonna say the Lord, he's gonna, are you hoping for a miracle? 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 Three out of five, 6 out of 10. Better luck next time. Just like his dad. Some things will never be different. Hungry and down. Queue it up for some more junk food. It's not my fault. They're getting so much younger. Why can't you be more European master control of you and your head? Over your head. In the sun, I'm thinking six. I'm thinking six. Are you hoping for a miracle? Are you hoping for a miracle? Are you hoping for a miracle? Are you hoping for a miracle?
There you go, that was Block Party with Helicopter there. If you recognise that, then you know which album I'm on about. This next song I've got is called The Pioneers, and this is my favourite one off the album because it's really got like a great vibe to it. It's got almost a soundscape element to it. So I thought this would just be a fun one to play. They've, unlike a lot of songs that do this sort of stuff, it's not super long. Everything is kind of your normal 3 or 4 minute song. So this is Block Party with The Pioneers. So it's a nice accessible way to get into that kind of sound. So There you go, that was Block Party there with the Pioneers. So this album was released in 2005. It's been Block Party's most successful album. It really put them on the map. It's won, I think it sold millions of copies. So it's a good album, I think. It's one of my favourites. And what was it? I've lost my train of thought. It's the first time I think this has happened on air. I've completely lost my train of thought. Yeah, it's quite guitar driven, this album, as opposed to quite a lot of their other albums where they're more electronic driven. But they've still got that great kind of indie rock, post-punk kind of vibe to them that I love. So they've also been recently touring it, which I have unfortunately missed because it's on one of the days I can't do. There is another gig I'm going to on that day that I would have absolutely loved to have been going on that, because that is, like I say, one of my favourite albums. If a band is touring your favourite album in full and you can't go, it's kind of gutting. So I'm going to sign off from this Album of the Week segment with Block Party's This Modern Love.
Makes
There you go, that was Block Party with This Modern Love. If you've enjoyed that, go check out the album. It's Silent Alarm, it's a fantastic album, one of my faves, as I've said numerous times. And one thing worth noting about this album is it was actually recorded live, which means that instead of people going in one by one, recording their part, editing it, and then having someone else play over the top of it, they recorded everything in the same room and just put the vocals over the top, which makes it that much more impressive that they managed to get these big soundscapes without much studio magic. They've pretty much just done what they do on a daily basis kind of thing. They just turned up and did it. So, as we got one more song. Well, not one more song, sorry. I've been distracted. Somebody sent a message in. We've got a Jimi Hendrix song next, which is a song that I've kind of taken as a bit of a joke because it is so warm, and in fact the aircon is broken in the studio, so it is incredibly warm in here. And this is Long Hot Summer Night by Jimi Hendrix.
As far as my eyes could see, but my heart was way down, cold, cold winter storm. For my darling, where can you be? Where can you be? Where can you be? There were 3 sugar walls and a 2 candy cane windows. But the silliest mood melted up all those inside. Everybody's on fire, but I'm snowing in a cold winter. Where are you on this hot, cold summer? Where are you on this hot, cold summer? Where are you on this hot, cold summer? About this time, the telephone blew its horn across the room. Scared little Annie, clean out of her mind. Blowing the candle, he peeps out of his peekaboo hide and seek, and grabbed little Annie from the ceiling just in time. And the telephone keeps on screaming. Shaky voice, well, how you doing? My stomach's got to tell I'm doing fine. It was my baby talking, way down possible. He says I'm gonna hurry to you, I better move, and I'm tired of crying. Coming to rescue me. Baby's coming to rescue me. So bad that my baby's coming to rescue me. My baby's coming to rescue me. My baby's coming to rescue me. Bad that my baby's coming to rescue me. Rescue, 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 rescue. What I say? Rescue me. Rescue, rescue.
There you go, that was Jimi Hendrix Experience there with Long Hot Summer Night. I couldn't not play that after the Saturday we've just had. I have to admit, I couldn't bear it. I can't do heat. I'm much more of a winter guy, so this is my worst season, so you may have many more kind of days where I'm a little bit out of it. So I apologise for falling over words, but I'm not a summer guy. Next up, we've got a classic Nirvana song, and this is New Wave Polly. Now, this is a revamping of one of their own songs, and this is a much faster kind of punkier version of one of their acoustic songs. So this is New Wave Polly. There you go. That was Polly, New Wave Polly by Nirvana there, which is a quick song. It's 1 minute 44 in length, so it's just a little snippet. So next up, we've got a bit of a folk rock song, and this is Richard Thompson with Fully Qualified to Be Your Man. There you go, that was Richard Thompson there with Fully Qualified to Be Your Man. Now, we've had another request, and this is from a mystery texter who did not tell me their name. However, they have requested Overstepping by Belmont. So here you go, enjoy. There you go. That was Overstepping There by Belmont. Thank you very much for the mystery texter for that. That was a great song. Brought a bit more energy into it. So we're coming down to the last couple of songs now. We've got two very different songs next. The next one is a blues rock song, and this is by C6 Steve, who's normally known for his kind of straight up blues stuff, but this is a bit more fun. So this is Back in the Doghouse. There you go, a great piece of blues rock by C6 Steve there with Back in the Doghouse. Got a real kind of energetic one for you. So the time has come for me to say goodnight. It's pretty much on the right time for once. I know for the last few weeks I've been a bit over, But we should be around at the right level with this one. So thank you very much for listening. I've been Jake. This has been the Solihull Radio Rock Show. If you like what you've heard, go ahead and listen next week if you like. Same place, same time. If you're on Listen Again, thank you very much for listening. You can go ahead and listen to the next episode now. It's fine to binge listen. Go ahead and find the radio on its social media on Facebook and that, and you can find me at Rock Radio Jake on Facebook, and you can give it a like and you can have a heads up on what's coming on the programme before anyone else. So with that, I'm going to leave you with one last song, and this is another live song by one of the great art rock bands of the 1980s, and this is Talking Heads with Burning Down the House.
You're listening to Solihull Radio.